All right, what up, though? Welcome back to Detroit Hustling Business. All right, well, listen, y'all, we got a special episode today because we're going to talk about the trucking industry. We're going to talk about how to get a truck. We're going to talk about the money that can be made. And we're going to tell you how to get there, everything, the whole scoop. Because I got somebody that's been in the trucking industry, someone who's been driving a truck and making good bank. So, without further ado, let me introduce Mook, the trucker.
Mook, a.k.a. Terry Butler, a.k.a. him, a.k.a. nephew.
There it is. That's him. There it is. That's my nephew, Terry Butler. But for this episode, we're going to call him Mook the Trucker.
Mook the Trucker.
Nobody calls him that. It's never been, I just made that up. But hey, it sounds good to me.
That's my tag on the CB.
There it is.
Mook
breaker,
yeah.
Mook the Trucker checking in. Yeah.
So you'll learn about that more once you start.
They still be having them CBs?
Yeah. That's more.
Damn.
I mean, yeah,
Old
everybody
school.
got some, but I feel like it's more of an old school thing. I mean, the thing that it helps you with is like if there's a truck a couple miles up the road or whatever, they be able to tell you, there's an accident up here
Or the popo?
or the popo.
They be doing that.
Yeah, but you got that on your phone now. You know what I mean? When you're using Google and it says it's speed trap ahead or whatever. But
You ain't never seen that movie back in the day with Burt Reynolds? What was it called? Smokey and the Bandit.
I ain't watched that.
Oh, man, you tripping. Hey, listen, you ain't no real trucker unless you seen Smokey the Bandit, man. Stop playing. All right, well, listen, we're going to get into all that, all right? So we're going to break everything down. So we're going to start from the beginning so, everybody out there can get to know you a little bit. So let's just break all that down. Let's just talk about who you are, where you from, how you came up, and we're going to get to all the trucking, how they say T, the trucking T.
The trucking who?
The trucking details, you know what I mean.
The T's.
There it is. So yeah, how old are you? Where you from? Let's break everything down a little bit.
What if I put this right here?
You can do whatever you want.
You think it'd be better since I'm talking this way?
I mean, yeah, it's gonna pick up regardless. Do your thing.
Okay.
You can move it over there if you want.
Does that make sense? Or you
Yeah,
think
that's
it's
cool.
like the visual.
As long as that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's all good.
I asked that after you said, so tell me a little something. What was the
Okay,
question?
well, he happens to be a director too. I'm gonna keep all that in. I'm not cutting none of that out.
Okay.
Yeah. hey, there it is. He not only does he drive truck, but he know how to direct my podcast as well. Hey, he's in charge here. The question was, damn, what I forgot. Oh yeah, where you from? How old are you? All that little stuff back in the day stuff. What's talk to us? Give us a little background on yourself.
Well, like I just said, they call me Mook. 30 years old. I'll be 31 in March.
Okay.
Originally as a kid, I grew up in Flat Rock, but then I ended up moving to Ecorse for a short stint, and then I ended up in Southgate, where I ultimately graduated.
Okay.
And,
so you've been around a little bit.
Yeah, downriver. Everything. Everything's next door to each other downriver. But,
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I graduated from Southgate, and now I live in Wyandotte. Still downriver.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
All right, so you grew up. Who raised you? Was you raised in a single parent home, double family? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, my pops was locked up. I think he did like 7 years or whatever, from like 3 to 10 or 3 to 11, I believe is how old I was when he was locked up or whatever.
So you was very young when he got locked up.
Mm-hmm.
Did about 7 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then my mom pretty much raised me or whatever with the help of, my uncles, my aunties and all that, Auntie Bridget and stuff like that.
So some help from the family. Mm-hmm. So it was like...
Yeah. But, yeah, I bounced around a little bit, whatever situation was the best. I pretty much ended up there, A lot of times it was at Aunt Bridget's,
Okay.
And my dad came home, then I started living with him shortly after that. I was still with Aunt Bridget, here, but he was, helping or whatever. She was helping, he was helping, it was more his responsibility than what it was for Aunt Bridget, He take me to school or whatever. But after school, I ended up at Aunt Bridget's, and you know.
Okay. So he came home and tried to do, try to be in your,
Step
try to
up.
do something, a little something.
Yeah.
Okay. Try to step up. Speak up a little bit when you speak, please, sir. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, that's what's up. So, like you said, you were staying with your aunt, your mom's a little bit, and your dad came home after doing 7 years. So, I'm just saying, people want to hear this because if you don't, obviously, I mean, we'll call it what it is. It ain't like you were just in a stable situation your whole life and just came up like that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And so people who come up in those similar situations, obviously, we're trying to show something at the end as far as where you can end up. So just to know that it can be done. But so let me just ask you this. So anyway, coming up like that, bouncing around a little bit and having different family members step up to help raise you, do you think that helped, hurt? How do you think that affected you just in life period?
I don't know. I look at it a couple different ways.
Okay, now we talking.
I see the benefits in living like that, but I also see the possibilities if I was in a more stable situation. You know what I mean? Growing up, like I was supposed to be double promoted from 2nd grade to 4th grade. You know what I mean? Because coming up, I was real into school. I was, ahead of the class. I was just smarter for my age. You know what I mean?
Okay.
In that year, we ended up bouncing from Flat Rock to E-Course, because the situation wasn't stable. But just knowing how I felt about school and, like I cared about being the smartest, you know what I mean? Like being in school, I would be competing like, this person's doing this, then I need to do this, you know what I mean? I care about that. Yeah. But then, going from a more laid back school to E-Course where, that was when I got my first school fight type deal, and then went to ISS in school suspension and ended up getting kicked out of there. You know what I mean? It's just the environment, being in the ghetto. You know what I mean? It ain't no.
So kind of switch your mindset a little bit. You saying?
Yeah, you know what I mean. So now I'm looking at it different. Like in the curriculum is it wasn't as advanced as Flat Rock or whatever. So now I'm in class and I did this last year. You know what I mean? Like I noticed. So now I'm kind of like.
So things were a little easier. So
yeah, I'm not being pushed, and the teachers didn't care as much. You know what I mean? They didn't see what the teachers in Flat Rock seen to me. You know what I mean? Okay. So it was just like.
So it kind of made you lose interest a little bit, kind of like.
Yeah, it made me lose because being smart didn't seem as cool as in Flat Rock or whatever. So it changed how I thought about stuff a little bit. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, hold on, because I got to ask you a very important question though. Who won that fight? You said your first fight. Who won?
I tell you what, I only lost one fight in my life, and it wasn't when I was in elementary school.
Okay, so it wasn't that one.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
And it wasn't a fight. I got blindsided.
Oh, we're going to get into that. All right, we're going to step into that here in a minute. Okay. All right, so switching schools, it kind of affected you in different ways and everything. But you mentioned this, you said you seen some benefits, some positive, what do you think the positive benefits from moving around a little bit then, yeah.
Yeah, and then, well, I'm just saying, the positive benefits is just, being around different walks of life. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I feel like I got the best of both worlds, you know what I mean? And it's helped me be able to, what's the word I'm looking for?
Adapt.
Okay. Yeah, adapt to different situations, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm aware that, some people who, we'll just say, born and raised in the ghetto, they get around more or less like business type folks. Mm. They might not know how to adapt as well to, whether it's changing the way you speak, you know what I mean, as far as, slanging or talk, slang words and talking.
They can't turn that slang off when they need to.
Right, you know what I mean? Stuff like that, you know what I mean? Little stuff like that, or,
But that's big though, honestly.
Yeah, no, it's huge.
Yeah, that's big.
It's huge.
Especially if it comes down to getting a job or something like that.
Right.
In those kind of settings.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And sometimes I question myself, like, is that being fake? But no, it ain't.
But it ain't
fake.
though.
You know what I mean?
And see, I think a lot of people think that's being fake, but it's not.
Yeah.
If you can't adapt in life to better your situation, that's just not being smart.
And that's the best example. What you said before, like even getting a job, like. I don't care who you are, how you talk. I mean, you got your select few that is just them, you know, it's raw, and I love it. You know what I mean? That's what, you know, we love them type of people, but, you know, even people who do use slang or speak improperly or whatever, everybody goes in that job interview and turns it on. And some people just sound a little bit more obvious than others. Like, you don't talk like that. You know what I'm saying?
You got to make it sound a little natural.
You know what I mean? You got to make it sound a little natural.
I mean, that's real though, man. Because even if we're going for a job interview, you still got to dress a certain way. You got to be approachable. You ain't coming in, especially back in the 90s, baggy pants and all that.
Right.
You ain't going to do that.
Right.
You ain't going to get the job.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
So there are situations where you got to tighten up a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I was locked up, there was this dude, black dude. He was gonna write a book, and I'm dead serious. We was on the yard kicking it. He told me I'm gonna write a book one day called "How to Turn Your Off." His exact words. I'm telling you, real shit. He was like, "Cause motherfucker, we ain't gonna be cussing all the time, but you know," he said people don't know how to turn it off when you need to turn it off for certain situations in life when you need to. Right. And that's just the exact same thing we're talking about.
Right.
But he was actually really gonna write a book. About that, seriously.
It's like
you know, it is what it is.
It's like you remember Stringer Bell on
Stringer Bell,
The Wire.
Oh yeah.
Stringer Bell, the one that went to school. He was, you know what I mean. You know, but he was the big dog.
Perfect situation, I mean? Perfect scenario.
Or Ghost on Power.
Even Ghost, right?
You know what
exactly.
I mean? You know,
he knew how to situate himself when he got around them big wigs.
Yeah, right.
He's still in the streets doing what he's doing.
Right. I know how to talk to them, but
boy,
listen here.
Yes, but I know how to talk to you too in the streets. So So bottom line is, just know how to present yourself in whatever the situation is, whatever is appropriate for that situation. That's not being fake. That's really being real.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it is what it is. We ain't saying sell out, but anyway. So I understand what you're saying with that. So, all right. So growing up,
you just asked me the positives and the,
go ahead.
You know what I mean
go ahead.
About that. You know, switch. Just being, I guess, unstable or whatever, the positives and negatives of it. You know, just being around and seeing certain stuff and being around different walks of life or whatever, it didn't help me, you know, just understanding, you know what I mean? Understand, I feel like more, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people, they grow up, how they grow up, and like we was talking about Josh earlier or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, maybe if he had to go through that a little bit, he wouldn't feel like that.
Because you're seeing more than one world. You know what I mean? And I don't care what you say. This world is different.
Yeah, you looking at things a different way. You learn to see things out of the next person's eyes. Right. Basically. You know what I mean?
But that's just real. We gonna call it what it is. It's color based, but also, you know, financial based. You've been in all white schools. You've been in all black schools. You've been in mixed schools. Right. And you know how to navigate no matter who you're around, no matter what, from growing up like that, right. So okay, I mean that's understandable, man. Because I mean I know I was the same way. I literally went to, I swear to, over 15 schools in my whole life, about 12 to 15 schools, and so I know how to carry myself and connect with people, conversate with people, no matter who you are, black, white, rich, poor, no matter what. You know what I mean? So. That is definitely a benefit, and I agree with that. So, all right, well, we ain't gonna spend too much on that. Let's just talk a little more about. That's
interesting, though.
Yeah, it definitely is. So we're gonna dig in more into that at another time, maybe another episode. You know. So let's just talk about some of the jobs you had, because we are here to talk, obviously, about financial, the trucking business on this episode, and the money to make. So let's just talk about some of the past jobs you had before you got into the trucking industry.
Man, I did it all, from fast food, Del Taco, McDonald's, car wash, factory work, warehouse work, delivering pizzas,
Everything.
Cleaning apartments, industrial, whatever, roofing. All these, you know, what they call that when you working face to face with the public.
Like what do you mean? Like in what scenario?
Service. What is it? People service, not customer service.
Oh, customer service.
You know
Okay,
what I mean?
okay,
Customer service, Sam's Club.
Damn. Out of all those jobs, do you remember which one you was getting paid most?
I want to say Aldi's.
Aldi's. Aldi's did kind of pay people, huh?
Yeah, I just remember Aldi's started out at like $11 or $12. You know what I mean? When you young.
Yeah.
Then did Walmart, Sam's Club, McDonald's, Del Taco, car wash, working for tips. You know what I mean? And all those were like $7, $8, maybe $9 an hour, and then Aldi's being 11 or 12 or something like that.
Yeah, I remember hearing about Aldi's. Yeah,
I was happy as hell.
I wonder why they pay so much, because that was just the grocery store, like a cheaper grocery store too, a less expensive one.
Because like Walmart, Sam's Club, you know, anything, Target, Kmart, whatever, Kroger. When I worked there, it was more laid back, like, you know, just boop, boop, boop. But if you notice when you go to all these, like, they train you all this stuff too. Like, you're supposed to, they time you. You know what I mean? Because that's the whole thing. You know, even though it's all off-brand stuff, but you know they care about the experience, the way they set everything up in the store. They make you walk through it like this. If you ever noticed,
a certain way,
you gotta walk that line with all the snacks and chips and all that. Then they put you by the food in the freezer, and you know, just
so that's a strategic the way they do that.
You know what I mean. And they, you know, their timing. If you notice when you go in there too, they're fast with it. You know, hey, how you doing in there?
Boom,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And your time needs to be low and all that kind of stuff, because they're making the experience better by
probably getting more customers in.
Yeah, it's just like having less people. You got to do more, basically. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just, I don't know, just, you know, kind of chill while you're going throughout the day like you could at Walmart. You could just be in line and it don't matter how fast you are. You just get it done.
Okay,
you know what I mean? You stand there. And at both of them, at the end of the night, you just stock up or whatever. But even at Aldi's, you notice when you in line, they hit that buzzer, that meep.
Yeah.
They calling for somebody else to come. You know what I mean?
Relieve them and stuff.
Yeah, they'll start with one, but they're going quick. So it might, if you're ever at Aldi's, it's a long line. It might seem like it, but it's going to go fast. As opposed to Walmart or something, you waiting in that line.
Yeah, Trey.
You know what I mean?
I love Walmart, so I know that.
Yeah.
Okay, so their philosophy is that in an hour, we're going to get, you know, I don't know the number. I'm just going to say we're going to get 30 customers through, as opposed to Walmart's only going to get 20.
Right.
So we're moving faster, 10. Being more efficient.
Yeah.
And so therefore they're making more money.
Right.
And they can afford to pay you $11, $12.
Right, exactly, because they don't need as many people in the store.
Right. Okay. I see you Aldi's, man. Yeah. Shout out to you Aldi's.
Yeah. And then when you done, you know, when you ain't at the cash register or whatever, you know, stock in or
doing something else
whatever,
still. Okay.
Putting the boxes in the packer and
okay. You worked for what was that? A group home too?
Oh yeah, the group home direct care services. DC, what is it? DCW, direct care worker.
Direct care worker. Let's talk about that a little bit. What was your experience like in that?
Man.
Did you like that job?
Did I like it?
Because it was taking care of not old people, but like mentally challenged.
You know, some type of mental deficiency. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Some of them were just older, and you know, whether they got, I don't know, dementia or, you know, whatever, they needed help being taken care of.
Okay.
But I don't know. I'm trying to answer your question, yes or no. I did like it because, you know, as long as you finish your task and no one needs anything specific right then and there, you kind of can just chill. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I didn't like it because when they were acting up or made you do some extra work, like, I don't know, one of them might decide to smear feces all over their room or something.
You seen that?
Yeah, you know what I mean?
That sounds like prison, dog, in the hole.
Yeah,
oh,
you know what I mean?
Damn.
Then you walk in and it's like, man, I got 30 minutes left of my shift. I should act like I didn't
like
even
you ain't even see
shit.
it. Oh, leave it to the next guy.
You know what I'm saying? But you know that's walking the thin line, though. You know what I mean? In your head, you like,
though,
damn, I was almost out of here. I gotta do this right quick. But then, you know, you had some of them nutting up, you know, trying to fight you and all that. I still got a scar on my back from this one dude that bit me.
Oh, straight up?
Yeah.
So you done had a run-in with some of the, what do you call them, residents?
Resident. I think that is what we call them, residents. Okay. Yeah.
So one of the residents, what kind of run-ins have you had in with the residents? Like any kind of situations?
Man, almost anything. Because the one I worked for, from what I understand, was supposed to be like the worst of the worst. Nobody else would take them. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the lady running there, I think she was probably making a lot of money. You know what I mean? So they had to give it, man. You either gonna deal with him or you're gonna give us whatever money he gets from the state or however they play it, and we'll deal with him.
So how much were you getting paid?
Shit,
not worth it. Huh? Shit, looking back, but how much? Let's talk.
What was it? It had to be about. It's probably between 10 and 13 or something like that.
So it don't sound like it was worth it, but yeah, so just a little peanut. So let's talk about it though. So tell me about a run-in with one of the residents. Like, what was the?
Well, you know, the reason I got fired or whatever is because when they had what they call not an episode, but basically like an episode.
Like an episode.
When they have,
you talking about one of the residents?
Yeah, I'm thinking
they kind of wild out, do something.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what it's called. You know, they got a certain word for it, but basically,
we'll say
in layman's term, when they have an episode, you're supposed to, you know, get the paperwork out and fill it out. You know what I mean? But it's like you got 90 people on this compound and 12 of us working, so there's always an episode. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You know, like, I was kind of lazy on the paperwork or whatever. It didn't seem like I would lose my job over it or whatever. So a lot of times, you know, some of them would nut up and want to fight. You know what I mean? Like one time, you know, they're not all old. You got you know, the one dude, he was a couple inches taller than me, more cut up, had a little bit more meat on him, and you would think he was normal. You know, he was intimidating. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. He was intimidating.
And how old about was he?
He was about my age. I think he was a couple years older than me at the time, so he had to be about 27,
so 28. In his 20s.
Yeah, he was in his 20s, you know what I mean?
Okay, so what happened with y'all? What happened here?
You know, like, we used to get into it all the time, you know what I mean? Like, one time he broke the window on purpose just so he could use the shard of glass and chase me around. You know what I mean? I'm talking
Used it for a weapon?
Yeah, I was running around. I was scared for my life. You know what I mean? We're just running around in circles. You know, it was like 20 rooms. That, you know, it was like a square, and then in the middle of the square they had the little smoking area. You know, they had it set up like that so you could lock the door going into the next building. You know, across from it. And in the middle of that was the kitchen. Then you go past the kitchen, and it's like the same thing, a big square with the smoking section in the middle or whatever. But
hold on, but why do you want to stab you though? Why do you want to get the glass and do you like that though?
Because at this particular time, and because I'm one of the more physically fit people that work there, because you got females, you got, you know,
out of shape dudes,
whatever, you know what I mean? At the time I'm still young and, you know, got my muscle on, and, you know, there's 3 different buildings. You get assigned to whatever building for that day. It was 1, 2, and 3. 1 was the worst, 2 was the middle, and 3 was the older people who are they just need, you know, a little assistance or whatever. Some of them, you know, I'm like, you know, I don't even know why he's in here. You know what I mean? But then as you get to talking to them, they might just, you know, I don't want to hear that. They're just mad. They're just mad, and you're like, all right, he just needs to be by himself. But then, you know, whatever.
But 3 is probably the building that people really wanted to work in.
Yeah, exactly.
To make things go easy.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody wanted to be in building 3, so.
But the dog wasn't in building 3.
He was in building 1.
Oh, the worst one.
The worst one. I'm in building 3, you know. But the days I used to work in building 3, the people in building 1, when they used to have episodes, they want to call me like, hey, can you come over here? I ain't even supposed to be over here, but, you know, you can't say no, you know what I mean? Cause
so they were like, you was a security or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
That's how they seen you.
Yeah, like I'm supposed to be the enforcer or whatever.
Right.
So he was over there nutting up, you know what I mean? Because it was, I remember a couple girls working. There might have been one dude on the staff at the time, but, you know. So mentally trying to get in his brain when they called me over there, because he was nutting up on them. When they called me over there, he seen me like, oh, you think you know, like, you supposed to be the one that's supposed to, you know.
So he saw you as a challenge.
Yeah, okay. You know what I mean? That made him turn up. He like, okay, I got something for you. Broke the window and grabbed the shard. Like, what you want to do? I'm like, you want something too, old man? No.
Damn, he did you like that.
You know what I'm saying? So now I'm running around the building. You know what I mean?
Chasing you with the dead knife.
Yeah.
With the shard of glass.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I don't want that smoke either.
Yeah, for what? You can't win, you know what I mean? What you gonna do? You know what I mean?
Because you're going to have to do something serious to him.
And the whole thing about it is, you're not allowed to break them down and, you know, disarm them. You're not allowed to disarm, break them down, hold them down, call the police, wait for them to get there, whatever. You're not allowed to touch them. The only thing, like the most from what I remember, it's called redirecting them. You might could grab them by like the bottom of their elbow and be like, "Come on, let's just go over here, man. Let me." Walk
but now when you got a damn short of knife,
you know what I'm saying? Man, come here, dog.
You
know what I mean?
No, they tripping.
You know what I mean?
But you would have gotten trouble. I mean, so you just had to get away from.
Yeah, but then
in that situation.
Yeah, but there's times like when I'm sitting in the corner like this, but there's a desk. Like, say I'm sitting in a chair like this, and then there's a desk right here. It's really kind of like a kitchen. The kitchen, like I said, would be in the middle of the both rooms, but it's like a mini kitchen. It's just got a sink with a couple cupboards behind it. You know, but there's a time like I was sitting in the corner, and then, you know, this is the only way to get in, and the one dude, he was just mad at me, and he rushed me. What I'm supposed to do? I'm sitting in the corner. There ain't nowhere for me to go.
Right.
You know what I mean? So...
It's a different dude?
Yeah, it's a different dude. It's another, he's younger. He's in his 20s or whatever. But, you know, he wasn't like out of shape to where, you know, he was strong.
Right.
Basically. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you know, I'm scared from out here. I got to bust through him and, you know, man, get up out of
redirect him?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
You had to redirect him?
Yeah, to redirect him out my, you know. So I got him out my way and tried to run away or whatever, and he chased me, jumped on my back. That's the one that bit me. You know what I mean?
Oh, he bit you.
Got me on the ground, bit me. At this point, you know, I done got on top of him. You know, I mean, I'm not hurting him, but I'm like, you know, forget his name, but I'm like, you good, man, bro, chill, whatever. And then everybody else came in, what the hell? You know, we're all trying to like, what the hell is your problem? Like, because the whole thing is you try to be nice to him and be their friend and, you know, give them extra cigarettes or whatever, you know, 'cause all day they're all, you got a cigarette? After a while, quick, you're like, nah, I don't got no cigarette. Like, we ain't about to be doing this every day.
All day.
You know what I mean? And he was one of the ones who I, like, favored a little bit, you know what I mean? I kind of, you know.
So what was his beef then with you? Why did he rush you?
If my memory serves me correctly, he wanted some type of extra privilege, and I was like, no, not today.
Because you said no.
You know what I mean? Because I'm trying to be nice to him, and I said no, and now he's just like, really? Come on, man, you can't just do it for. What's it gonna do to hurt? You know, it's like, no, bro, not today. Like, you know, whatever.
So he was like,
you know, he just turned up on me. Now his face twisted up like a crossword puzzle and shit.
Oh, man, it came at you. Okay. So now when these situations, go ahead.
That's how I end up losing at that, because it's always something, and I've always hated paperwork. That's one thing I love about trucking. Like, it's probably the best job I'm gonna get besides maybe a rapper or something.
Oh yeah,
you know,
we don't count that out.
As far as not going back to school, you know what I mean.
Okay, right.
I hate paperwork. You know what I mean. So,
it's tedious.
Yeah, tedious. You know what I mean. So with this job, every time they had an episode or whatever, you had to like fill out this big whole thing and write the time, date, and explain it all and all that kind of stuff. So I was kind of lazy with it. just like everybody else. You know what I mean? Like, you don't write every single thing, like, because the stuff they want you to report, it's all day, every day. I wouldn't even be able to do my job if I was writing them reports all day.
Right,
you know what I mean? I wouldn't even, literally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when that happens, and then one of them try to, one of them make a report on you, and you don't got this episode, like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like you admit anything about it.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah, what he's saying is kind of true, but
because hold on,
so
they can
like,
put a report on you.
Yeah. Like,
okay, and they do that.
I think they're social workers, I want to say, that used to come in and
talk to them.
Talk to them. I think that's what they were. They're social workers. They come in and talk to them or whatever. They'll come in and they'll be like, so everything's going. I don't know what they say exactly, but they're basically just checking on them. Okay. And then they come in right after you had a beef with one of them. They're gonna be like, well, my arm hurts because. They ain't gonna say I attacked him when he was in the corner and
no.
couldn't. You know what I mean?
No.
So now if I admit anything to it but didn't fill out that paperwork, now it's more or less like, well, why ain't you report it? So now they're gonna just believe anything either because he told first. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Damn. So the paperwork would have saved you, but you was like, I ain't dealing with that.
I ain't doing it every time. You know what I mean? Like,
no
one that. I mean, that's a whole nother story.
Okay, so I mean, hey, at least you ain't there no more. How long were you working there?
About a year.
About a year or so. Okay,
yeah,
okay. All right. Well, so it seems like you had a couple, interesting jobs to say the least. So all right. Well, we covered a couple things on that tip. So let's try to get into the nitty gritty of the situation of why we're here. So, trucking. How did you even get turned on to trucking? How'd you hear about it? What made you go that route?
Well, I was roofing for about 4 or 5 years. You know what I mean? And one of my best friends, he had a million jobs just like I did. Like when I came up on the Aldi, like I said, with the 11 or 12 hours or whatever, I was geeked. You know what I mean? Like, that was the best paying job I ever had.
Yeah.
Just like with him, when he was working for this moving company and he was making like, I think 14, 15, 16 or something like that. He was geeked about that. I'm like, damn, you getting 15, dog? You know what I mean? Like, that's good money, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we just both have our, we both, like I said, we both had a bunch, in customer service, fast food, car wash, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like I said, him being one of my best friends or whatever, I'm doing the roofing, and he came up on the trucking. And while I'm roofing, my whole thing while I was roofing was I want to open my own company. The big picture, end of the day, I was like, I want to open my own company. That way I can employ my family or whoever else, you know what I mean? I can help people out because I think the way that it works. If I own my own company, I can easily split the big pot as opposed to most roofing companies trying to give you the bare minimum or the market price for this position at most roofing companies. You know what I mean? So that was my whole thing, and he found out about the money that you can make in trucking, and he was trying to convince me for over a year, like, Mook, I'm telling you, like, get this trucking shit is where it's at. You know what I mean?
Oh, so he had been telling you about it for about a year.
Yeah, he was telling me that, but in my mind, I'm like, well, I can't employ my family doing trucking. You know what I mean?
Right.
But after about a year or so, when he pulled up in that Benz with the brand new jewelry kit and shit, I was like, no, I see what you're saying. It's that kind of money. I was like,
so he had been in a trucking.
Yeah, for about a year and a half. You know what I mean?
He paid out, came up with the baby blue buggy-eyed Benz with the BBSs on them joints.
Yeah, all that. I've been there like this.
Okay.
Remember when Ace was like,
I see you shot it, boy. Damn, okay. So he pulled up with the Benz, the little jewelry on and all that. Yeah. So like you said, now you see what you're talking about.
Yeah, now I'm like, okay, now I see the money. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
that's what it is. Sometimes you got to show me. You can talk about it, but you got to show me.
Right.
Okay,
you know, and he was still in the beginning. He was over the road for I think he only did it for like 8 months or something. Got lucky and found something local. Only after 8 months. But usually you gotta put your time in over the road for at least a year. They see you got experience in all type of different terrains and all that stuff. Then it's easier to get a little job locally. It seems like it's kind of backwards. Like you do a little local work for a year and you keep your record clean, no accident. Then you can work for this over the road company and we'll pay you. But, I mean, that's just how it is.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
all right. So listen, everybody, do not be like him. We're giving you the information now. So if you're trying to pull up in the bins with the little jewelry, you better start listening and get all this information right now because we about to really get into it and break it all down. Okay, yeah. So you were talking about the trucking and how'd you get into it? So your man, you said you was working for the construction and Scotty pulled up. He told you about it.
Los.
Yeah. So Los pulled up and told you about it. After the bling bling and all that, and he told you about it and go from there.
I said, nah, I see what you're talking about. You know what I mean? Around. So then I started inquiring more like, how much they making, you know what I mean? At this point, he had his own truck already, you know what I mean?
Okay.
But, he just gave me the 411 basically and was like, you go to a school and they'll teach you how to get your CDL and teach you how to drive. The one that he went to, he only knew what he knew, you know what I mean, and the way he did it. So he like, what I did, I went to this school, which is Trainco, over in Taylor. And he was like, yeah, you go there. And then,
so that's the school you went to?
Yeah, Trainco.
So how'd you get in that? I mean, what was the deal on that?
It was a 3.5 week class. It cost it was $3,995. You know what I mean? It was a $4,000 class, 3.5 weeks.
So a $4,000 class.
Yeah.
So how'd you just cashed out on that, or what'd you do?
Yeah, actually, he helped me with the money. He borrowed me the money or whatever, and yeah, because
Oh, so your man's give you the bread to start the class.
Yeah, he
so he knew
so
it was the real deal.
Yeah, he was so confident. Like, this is better than what you're doing. You know what I mean? It took a while for him to convince me or whatever because I was trying to do something positive and do the right, so I could tell he wasn't really trying to like not what I was doing or saying, you know what I mean? But in his mind, he like, man, I know he'll appreciate this way more. He's like, man, I'm gonna pay the money for you to get in there. I'm like, damn, you ain't playing. Like, all right,
$4,000.
Yeah, hell yeah. Let me check
that's a real investment.
Yeah, and that's what he said. You know what I mean? I thank him up and down and shit. He be like, you gotta be like, I'm investing in you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you my son, uncle, basically. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay. So he put down the $4,000 for you to get in the class. Bam. So, all right. So I mean, obviously they have other schools programs. So it ain't like that's the only one around. But some of them can be cheaper than that. Or how does that?
Yeah, and that's the thing. You get what you pay for. You got cheaper ones like, I don't know the specific names, but that might be $2,500 or $2,000 or whatever. But you might got 30, 40, 50, 60 people in one class with a couple instructors. With this one, there was like 5 or 6 of us in one class, and we had like 3 instructors. So you're getting your money's worth. They're very focused on making sure you learn how to drive that big ass stick shift, and
so
what
it's
I mean?
more hands on.
Yeah, it's more hands on. You get more time in the trucks. You know what I mean? And they prepare you for the test. To get your CDL. Make sure you're keeping up and knowing, everything. By the second week, you should pretty much be ready to pass. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And
so the classes range from a different price, but they can go to $4,000. They can be cheaper, whatever you want. You want a bigger class, a smaller class? Right. So people got to figure that out. Now this is a class. So this is this to get a CDL, or you got to get the CDL first, or do you got to take the class first? Well,
to get in the class, you got to get your driver's permit, just like you do with a car. You know what I mean? You got to get.
But it's a truck permit.
Yeah, you have a semi truck. With the air brakes and trailer and all that stuff.
Okay.
You got to get your driver's permit because in the class they're going to be having you drive. You know what I mean? As a teacher,
right. Yeah,
so you got to have some type of knowledge behind you before you get in this 50,000-pound machine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Permit first. Once you get the permit, then you can start the class.
Exactly.
Damn.
Exactly.
So you start the class. How long is the class?
3.5 weeks.
3.5 weeks.
Yeah. And to get the permit, you go to Secretary of State and you can take the test every single day. It doesn't cost nothing until you pass 3 different tests.
You have to pass all 3.
Yeah, all 3. They're on 3 different subjects, 3 main things about the truck or whatever. Mm-hmm. And you can take them all 3 every day until you pass once a day. You know what I mean? They give you a little booklet at Secretary of State. If the ladies are nice, they'll even circle what you got to study to pass those 3 tests, like the chapters. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, like, for me, you know, I studied or whatever. I went in the first day, took all 3 tests, didn't fail one, got closer on one of them than the other 2.
I mean, but you didn't pass one.
I didn't pass none, but the one I got closest on, the next day I went in, you know, in that one day I studied that, you know, harder, you know, I focused on that. So the next day I went in, I passed that. And still took the other 2. The next day, the one I got closer out of the other 2, I studied that mostly. When in the next day, passed that one. And I took the other one still, though, and failed that. And then the next day, I had one of them to study, you know, focus on, and I passed it like that. You know
okay. I mean? So you passed 1 out of 3, came back, passed the second one out of the 3.
Passed 0 out of 3, came back,
0
passed 1 out of 3. Next day I passed the second one out of the 3, and the next day I passed the third one out of 3.
Okay.
So now I got my permit. Now we can go sign up for the school, you know, and start the school a few weeks later or whatever. And even with the school, if I understand it correctly, you don't even have to go to school. At first, I thought you had to go to school, but once I, you know, in retrospect, you can go take the test, get the permit. If you got someone, this is like if you don't know nothing about driving a semi or none of that. If you got someone that owns their own truck, like my boy does, like he helped me learn a little bit. If they got their own truck, you got your permit. Your permit allows you to drive with someone with their license, just like your regular car license. Okay. You know what I mean? So if you got someone to teach you that and teach you, see, a big thing is the pre-trip inspection. You got to be able to point at every part of the truck, identify it, and, you know, describe if it's cracked, bent, broken, you know, debris, whatever. If you got someone that can just teach you that, you know what I mean, or like a study sheet or something like that, because to take the test to get your CDL before they let you drive at Secretary of State, they treat it as if you didn't even go to a trucking school, like you have no idea. So you gotta first, before you get in it, you gotta identify everything and say that it's not cracked, bent, broken, loose, you know.
And this is what they're teaching you in the class then.
Right.
Okay, so if you go get the permit from the Secretary of State first, bam, you get that.
Right.
Then technically, if you know all this stuff, you can just go get a job.
Exactly. Or no, you can go get your CDL.
Or to go get the CDL.
Yeah, you can go pay because it costs like $160. I want to say something like that, $125 or $160 or something. To take the test at Secretary of State.
So the class that you took
wherever,
that cost $4,000 was teaching you how to get the CDL license.
Right, which you had to know to pass and teach you how to drive, because I didn't have any driving experience. I didn't never drive a truck. So they're teaching you how to drive the truck and the answers to the questions they ask you at Secretary of State. Okay,
so you can get bypass that class, you know, if you can.
From what I understand.
But it's kind of hard, though, probably. So to get that knowledge, you probably need the class to, you know, get that CDL.
And, like, I got the study sheets from the class. I feel like, you know, I could teach someone, you know what I mean, and walk them around the truck and be like, is there anything wrong with it? You know, this is that. It's not crazy. Because you got to say it to the person who's administering the test to get your CDL. They're going to be like, all right, pre-trip inspection.
So you could do a little side hustle then. And teach people, instead of them taking the class, if you can get with people, start marketing yourself, teach people all the stuff they need to know.
Right.
And if you know, and then after that, they go take the test, get a CDL.
Right.
That could actually be a little side hustle, honestly.
I think I've heard of that before. My brother was telling me something about he knew a guy that charged a couple $100 to ride his truck and teach you how to ride the stick or whatever. Yeah, I think so.
Damn, see? You need to start thinking about that. You can monetize your knowledge.
Right.
You know, and you'll be a lot cheaper than the class.
Right.
And you still give them the same knowledge.
And it's one-on-one.
Yeah. So, okay. So, people out there, Think about that.
Yeah.
You know, it's always about trying to use what you know and monetize your knowledge,
Right.
and that might be a way you can do that.
Right.
Okay. But
And that's if I'm correct. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, shit, what do you mean? That's if you're teaching somebody how to pass the test, that's what it is.
Right. I just haven't asked anyone who knows. I'm just going off of what I see. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right. So the bottom line is, after you do finish the class, then that's when you take the CDL test.
Right.
Bam. Now you go take the CDL test. You pass that. You got the CDL.
Yeah.
What's the next step?
Now, most of the time you're going to have to do a year or two over the road, you know what I mean? Because a lot of the local companies want a year, 2, 3 at the most that I've seen experience with a good driving record.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So a lot of times you're going to have to go over the road, but you could get lucky. You know what I mean? A lot of people say, you know, after a year or two, now you come home. But like I said, when my boy, he went over the road for the same company I worked for, and he was only gone maybe 8 months or something like that, I want to say. So you get lucky as long as you're still grinding, trying to find another job. That might be, you know, you might get lucky and find something. You know what I mean?
So the key is, after you get the CDL, just get some over the road experience.
Or just
with somebody.
Or just experience. Period. You know what I mean? They just want to see you got. You know, a lot of companies just want to see you got a year or two experience driving a semi truck before you can drive in a clean record. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So,
well, the thing is, there's 1,000 trucking companies. So, like you said, you can get lucky and find the right one.
Yeah, exactly.
But okay. But the route you took was what?
I looked for that local job paying $1,000 a week, starting off. You know what I mean? I looked for that for a couple months, never found it. So now I'm like, I got my CDL. I gave up on the roofing. I got to just take what I can get.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean? So I went with the company that I knew, you know, would hire me, the same one my boy worked for. Because as I'm talking to him, he's still like guiding me or whatever. He was like, basically like, man, look, you can go with them. I guarantee they'll hire you. They hired people and had DUIs, all kind of stuff. But they start out, the pay is nowhere near the average pay. You know what I mean? They start off at like 30 something. Was it 29 cents a mile or something like that? But my opinion, you know, you should be getting at least 50 cents a mile. You know what I mean?
Okay. So 50 cents a mile is where you want to be at, but
they started at like 29, but I got to,
because in their eyes, they're like, yo, we're going to take anybody. If you got a background, a record, or DUI,
right,
we just need you. We're going to give you the job. We're going to pay you low to get your experience.
Right. But if you drive for 11 hours, then it'll add up and you can make 7, 8, 9. You know, you can make that. You know what I mean?
What, 700, 900 a week?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But you're gonna be earning
there. Driving.
Yeah, because you can only drive for 11 hours a day. So you're gonna be driving for 10 hours a day, 10, 11 hours a day. And on top of, because I was doing flatbed, on top of securing the load, tarping it, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Okay. So you just took something, like you said, where you knew you was guaranteed a job.
Yeah, I need to get my experience.
So you were just you had to crawl before you walk.
I'm looking at all these jobs. They're like 1 year. You know, it'll be like 12 to 1,400 a week, home every day, brand new trucks, blah blah. And then you go to the bottom. It says requirements: 1 year experience.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Like, damn, this is exactly what I'm looking for. And then you go to the bottom. It says you need 2 years experience, 1 year experience. So I'm like, man.
Well, over the road. Like I said, you just had to crawl before you walk. That's what it was.
Yeah, and I was wasting time. You know what I mean?
Okay.
When I was over the road, I'm 10 months in, I'm like, maybe even 9. I might have been looking for a job for 3 months. 9 months in, I'm like, damn, I wouldn't even have to be here no more. I could be at home, but I was trying to get that local job.
Oh, so let's talk about this, because like you said, you took that first job and you weren't getting paid nearly what you should be, not what you're worth, but you took the job just to get the experience. But let's talk about some, where did you go? Because you was out the state. Yeah. So let's talk about that. Yeah, where did you go?
There's some pros and cons with that too. Like, I made the best of it. A lot of dudes, when they get over the road, by the time they're done driving and they got to sit for, 34 hours, that's what they're going to do. They're going to relax. And I get that too. You know what I mean? But with me, if I'm within an hour, I got to find somewhere to sleep for the weekend or whatever, let's say. Mm-hmm. If I'm within an hour of somewhere I ain't never been that I want to go, I'm going to drive, out the way and, so I can Uber and, see the city or whatever, Uber, train, cab or whatever. Like I got lucky. I was stuck in Vegas for Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? And
okay, so Vegas. You had to take a trip to Vegas.
Yeah, you know, I was in Vegas for a few days, and that was Thanksgiving. On New Year's, I was in Atlantic City.
Atlantic City.
I just so happened to have my girl with me at the time, so it's like I got my girl. We had Atlantic City. It just so happened to be 60 degrees. You know what I mean? In January. You know what I mean?
Ooh, feeling
so
good.
We on the beach. Okay. You know what I mean? Went seen a little comedy show, whatever. Atlantic City, and then.
So hold on. So you seen a comedy show out there?
Yeah.
On the beach.
Oh yeah.
And this is just your downtime where you were waiting on a load or something like that.
When we were in Atlantic City, yeah, but that's exactly what it was. It was there was no loads because it was New Year's, and then when we went, the load we were at by Atlantic City, they I forgot what it was. Like they let their workers off or whatever a couple days before, and I don't know if my company just didn't know that, but when we went there, I talked to some people that were there. Like I had to walk around the whole site and find someone to talk to. Like we're supposed to be picking up a load, and they're like, well, you know, we waited for a couple hours, and they're like, no, ain't nobody here, whatever, you come check tomorrow. Well, I don't think nobody's gonna be here tomorrow. I mean, to be honest with you. And I was like, all right, I can already tell why would they be gone today and not tomorrow, and then New Year's Eve is the next day, and that's the weekend. So it had to do with that, and then it ended up being Sunday or something like that. So I was like, you know what? We're within range. Like, you ain't gonna go too far out the way. You know what I mean? We're not company dollars or whatever, but I'm like, we're in range. We're gonna park as close as we can to Atlantic City, and we found this bus that took you right down there. You know what I mean? Okay. And so we end up doing Atlantic City for 2 or 3 days. You know what I mean? Okay. But we were there New Year's Eve, you know, watching fireworks off the beach.
Right.
You know what I
mean? So
you
got a nice little vacation while you were working.
Yeah, exactly. And
so had you ever been there before?
No.
Had you ever been to Vegas before?
No, never been to Vegas.
Okay.
New York.
You been in New York too?
Yeah, Virginia Beach. The Mall of America, Minnesota. Philadelphia.
Philly.
Almost anywhere you could think of.
ATL.
Atlanta. My truck actually, man, I feel like I got lucky as hell. Like, my truck broke down in Atlanta, and it took them like a week to fix it. So I was in Atlanta, you know, for like six of those days or whatever. I was just in Atlanta parlaying.
So you had a little week vacation in ATL.
T.I.'s Trap Museum, the best aquarium.
Okay.
Like, I done seen some aquarium, but their shit is something to experience. You know what I mean? You know, you walk down the hallway and the glass goes all the way on top of you. You got all these whales and sharks and tortoises as big as a damn school bus, manatees, manta rays. You know, all that.
They just like swimming over you, around you and everything.
Yeah, as close as we are, right next to the damn window. You know what I mean? Like, it was nice. You know, and there's a bunch of parents and kids in there. You know what I mean? You know, you think of aquarium, you don't think of a grown ass man like me just in there enjoying myself.
Listen, you crazy?
I was in there like a little kid.
I know I would too. That's something to see. That's something to see.
Yeah. T.I.'s Trap Museum. You know,
you ain't go to Magic City?
I seen it, but I didn't go in.
Oh man, you tripping?
No, you know why though?
Magic City.
Hey, you know why though? Because my homeboy, he actually knows some people down there, and he was gonna have them pick me up and show me a good time and all that. But because I'm on the road, you don't never know where you're gonna be. I ain't have a haircut.
That didn't stop you doing
I do now.
That didn't stop you from doing a podcast.
Yeah, like I don't know.
I mean, damn, I'm saying.
I ain't have a haircut. I got all work clothes and stuff. I'm like, man, I don't want to embarrass my boy. You know, he got to pick me up. He, you know, he used to see me well groomed or whatever, so he probably like, you know, y'all go do that. But I'm like, man, I can't even do that to you or myself. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I seen Magic City though. I just didn't go in. You know what I mean?
Okay.
They got the pretty sure it was the College Football Hall of Fame down there. They got like this Coca-Cola headquarters or Hall of Fame or something like that. You know what I mean? They got like in the middle of downtown Atlanta. They got the
ATL popping though.
Yeah, they got a Ferris wheel. Like, you know, just imagine being downtown Detroit and they got a Ferris wheel on one of them corners. You know what I mean? What do they call those? What do they call those horses with the fur on the bottom of the? Not Centennial horses.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Clydesdale.
Okay.
You know, they got the Clydesdale horses walking around.
Yeah, just in the city and everything.
You know, like Cinderella or some shit. You know what I mean? Just, you know, it's nice. It's different. You know what I mean?
So that's a good. So you got to see the whole country, have seen some
Pretty
different
much.
experiences on the job from trucking.
I've been to every state but California. That's
Damn.
with trucking. You know what
Okay,
I mean?
so yeah.
So what it did for me though was like now when I go on vacation or plan to go on vacation, you know, I know what to do now. I'm gonna need a little bit of money for this.
yeah.
You know, I can plan it good and
Because you know what's going on down there.
Yeah, you know what I mean. You know, maximize my money and time and everything like that. You know what I mean. When I do go somewhere now, like I want to check that out. I can do that. You know what I mean. New York. You know, because
Well, you just took a trip down to Florida on your own time. Did you?
Actually, we went places that I hadn't been. Actually, I went to Key West, and we did Key West for a few days in Miami, but I've driven past Miami, but I didn't go into the heart of it like we did when we just went. So I didn't know that, like, that just, but I've been to Florida in the truck. I drove past Aventura Mall is one of the biggest malls in the country. You know what I mean? It's bad to say. I had my homeboy. But see, because I was down there trucking and I went to the Aventura Mall and I seen it, I'm like, damn, we looking at Southland, Somerset, Fairlane like it's something. I seen this. So when we was in Miami, I'm like, and they weren't even with it. I'm like, man, no, y'all got to see this. Like, you know what I mean? You know, you got 4 dudes. We all want to do our own thing. And so I'm like, no, this is my choice.
Right.
I'm going to show y'all niggas this shit. This shit. You think of Southland, none of that. You know what I mean?
Killing Southland and Fairlane too. Fairlane too?
Fairlane, Somerset, all that. No, it ain't no comparison. It's
not even close.
Man, there ain't no comparison. It's not even. It ain't nothing.
Straight up.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
See, and that's in which state? Florida? Down in Florida or
Miami?
Okay,
Miami. Yeah.
Okay, I got to check that out. Check that out.
But because I was
hopefully this year.
Yeah, but because I was in the truck,
you knew about it.
Like,
yeah.
Man, let me show. You know what I mean?
Okay, so yeah.
You know, when they had a good time, they just they had the reaction I thought they would. You know what I mean?
So even if people do got to take a job that's not going to pay them as much, just for the first year to get their experience. This is what he's saying. You can get all kind of good experiences seeing the country through that. You know what I mean? So that was a positive out of that.
Because most people look at the negative about going over the road. Oh, I got kids. Oh, I don't know if I could be away from home. I got, this and that. I can't be on the road just sleeping in the truck for a month straight and then come home for a couple of days. Everybody, most people, and I get it. The idea is, it's you're jumping out there, but that's what you got to do. You think anybody made some real money without jumping out there? You know, what I mean?
Exactly. Absolutely.
You got to sacrifice.
Got to make some kind of sacrifice in some kind of corner.
And people, I think that's just their excuse because they're already psyched out about jumping out there like that. But it's like you can't tell me if you were getting paid like a rapper or whatever to make $50,000 a show to go on tour. You're going to be like, I can't do that because I got kids. No, you're going to do it because it's going to better their lives.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Get it. Yeah.
That's just an excuse. But people be scared to jump out. You just got to do it.
You got to jump out and make that sacrifice because it's going to help you in the long run. It's going to help you get to that real money.
Exactly. Because after 1 year, I ain't even worked the whole year. My truck actually broke down like 2 weeks before my 1 year was up. And then they finally figured out that they had to take it to the dealership because there was like what do you call it? When something's wrong with a certain model of car.
Oh, a recall on it.
It was a certain kind of recall or whatever.
Okay.
So they had to take it to the dealership. So now I'm at home for a few weeks, and this time my year done came up. So I started looking for jobs. I'm like, let me just check it out. I got lucky on a Sunday morning looking through Craigslist. They had just posted it that Sunday. I called them. I said, hey, what's going on? How much experience? Blah, blah, blah. All right, well, can you come in and talk? Yes, I can. Went down there, talked to them. They're like, as long as everything goes clear in your background, you're in. And now I'm home every day. You know what I mean? 5 days a week.
Oh, so so what you're saying on that first job you had when you were traveling everywhere?
Yeah, I did my year, and after that year was done.
And because your truck was broke down, you just started looking for a new job just on a whim.
Yeah.
Without having your full year.
Yeah.
And got something new.
Yeah, it was like, right before the year, they're like, how much experience you got? And I told them, I was like, it'll be a year on Wednesday or whatever it is, whatever day it was.
So they were like, come on in.
Yeah, they were like, all right, well, come in, you know what I mean? And, do my little trucker button up on with my boots, some clean pants, play with my bro, and,
So you turned your... Oh,
right. You know what I'm saying?
We're gonna circle it back. Yeah. Okay, hold on. Let me ask you this now. on that first on your first job that you took as the trucker, what kind of money were you making per week? You know, kind of like, you know,
The first
average.
job,
The first job where you just had to get your feet wet, your experience.
as long as everything was going smooth, like 600 to 800 or something like that a week.
Okay,
You know
so
what I mean?
600 to 800
Six
a
is
week.
like real slow. That means you're gonna make what you put into it. You know, you can make like down there 900 or not 900, but you gotta work. You know what I mean? You gotta load your shit fast. You gotta, drive all day. You know what I mean? Wake up early, be the first one to get loaded. All that you got. There's a strategy to it. You know what I mean? When you first start out, you might not get it or believe that it makes a difference, but real quick you'll see like, damn, if I would have I would have got another load today. No, I got to just sit here for the rest of the day and the beginning of the morning until they open to, start my clock. But yeah, no.
So you got to plan your strategy right to maximize how much money you can make.
Exactly, because like they say in the trucking industry, if your wheels ain't turning, you ain't earning. You know what I mean? So
there you go.
Especially when you get paid by the mile. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, like 600 to 800.
All right. So 600 to 800 a week is, just roughly. Boom. That's the first job. Now.
But I started training people after like 6 months or so, 6-7 months. Okay. I was qualified to train new hire-ins at this company. Okay. So now, I'm making whatever I drive and whatever they drive. They got to put in so many hours, so they're driving as much as they can, which for training, I got paid their miles and I got paid my miles. They only got a flat rate, of like $400 a week. But I got paid for their miles and my miles. So when I started training people, if he's running and I'm running constantly, you could honestly make, it's hard to with the loads and the times and all that kind of stuff, but you can make, 2,000 a week, 19, 17, 18.
Now this is off the training.
Yeah, when you're a trainer,
because you're getting kind of like double the money.
You're getting double the money basically. You know what I mean?
Okay. Do all companies do that though?
I don't think all companies.
I
don't think all companies do it, but they got to, because someone's got to train.
Yeah, somebody has to train drivers, right? Yeah. So that might be something.
And the other two companies that I did, inquire about before I jumped with them, they did offer the training. You know what I mean? The training program, or to be a trainer, but they're a little bit more strict. Like I said. Okay. I'm fresh out of school, just starting driving. 6 months, 9 months later, now I'm training other people.
Man. Yeah, that quick. Damn, that kind of quick.
Yeah.
Okay. But without the training, because obviously that's something else, but that's still good money. So you can make good money once you start training people.
Shit, after 6 months, you're making $1,500 a week.
And you could have kept doing it?
After taxes. $1,500, $1,600, $1,700.
Man. Okay. But without